Hello everyone. Welcome to the second day of tutorial class on digital communication. So, in the last tutorial class, we have discussed the basic block diagram of digital communication system and sampling theorem and corresponding Nyquist criteria. Okay. So, Nyquist criteria or sampling theorem is the basic or fundamental theorem based on which digital communication is standing. Okay, so now in this tutorial we'll discuss following topic like how can we reconstruct the original signal from the sampled one, and what are the different constraints that happen in ideal sampling, and what are the practical and natural approach for the sampling. And next one is the sample hold circuit, which is very popular technique to reconstruct the signal. Next, another issue that occurred during the sampling due to the uh, band limited signal, and the problem is overcome by the anti-aliasing filter. The details will be discussed in this presentation, and moreover, at last we will discuss different pulse modulation technique like PAM, PWN, and PPM. Okay, so let's revise the previous class where we find that during sampling, if we use a train of impulse and if you observe the spectrum, corresponding spectrum of the sample signal, we will find that the spectrum consists of replica of of the signal of the original spectrum of the original signal. Like uh, this one, this one is the original spectrum of original spectrum of the signal, and this one GA bar is the replica of this spectrum. You can see that there is a repeating replica at omega s, 2 omega s, or minus omega s, minus 2 omega s, like this. So now, if you want to recover the actual signal, you can easily find from the spectrum that if you use a low pass filter whose bandwidth is B hertz, okay, so obviously we can easily extract this spectrum, which is nothing but GT or original message signal. So, so this is the ideal reconstruction case where we need to use a low pass filter of bandwidth B. And this ideal reconstruction is also known as the interpolation of signal. So obviously, you can see that transfer function of this low pass filter is this rectangular shaped. Okay. So coming uh, here, the transfer function of the low pass filter is HF, and HF, and bandwidth is from 0 to B. So this is obviously transfer function of a ideal low pass filter. So the transfer function, mathematically, the transfer function of low pass filter is nothing but a rectangular pulse. You can see that this is basically a rectangular pulse. Okay, so transfer function is represented, can be given by like Ts, okay, whose amplitude is Ts, rectangular pulse omega by 4 pi b. Okay, where b is the bandwidth or upper cutoff frequency. So substituting omega equal to 2 pi b, we can get hf equal to ts rectangular pulse f by 2b. Okay, so thus this transfer function is sharply band limited to b hertz. You can see that the transfer function directly fall to the this point sharply. Okay, so this is basically the transfer function of ideal low pass filter for interpolation or reconstruction of sample signal. Now, as you already know, if you want to get the time series representation of this function, we need to do inverse Fourier transform. And as we know that the inverse Fourier transform of rectangular pulse is nothing but a sinc function. So here the inverse Fourier transform of this is nothing but a sinc function which is given by like this, and the amplitude and which is given by 2b ts. Ts is the uh, this one amplitude, and sinc 2 pi b into t. Now if we consider the Nyquist rate, that means f is equal to 2b. So obviously t is equal to 1 by 2b, and we can get 2b ts equal to 1. So if we substitute 2 into b into ts equal to 1 in the earlier equation, okay, we can get ht equal to sinc 2 pi b into t. So obviously you can see that this one is the one, and so obviously the amplitude of the maximum amplitude of this sinc function is 1, and his time period is given by 1 by 2b. Okay, so obviously this is sinc function. And another interesting fact that can be observed, that in time domain representation of rectangular function, ht value of ht equal to 0 when the value of t equal to plus minus 1 by 2b, or plus minus n by 2b, where n equal to 1 2 3 4 5 like this, and this is going to up to infinite. So at all Nyquist sampling instant, we can call it all Nyquist sampling instant. Why do we call it Nyquist sampling instant? Because we are using Nyquist sampling rate, that is f is equal to 1 by 2, f is equal to 2b. So at t equal to plus minus n by 2b, all the value are 0, except at t equal to 0 we only get the actual maximum amplitude, that is 1. So so how can we get the original signal? As per that property of transfer function of low pass filter, if we if the incoming signal is gkts, if the incoming signal is gkts, why do we? Because gkts is the discrete signal, that or the sampled signal, that's why we represent by g kts. Okay, where k is the 1 2 3 4 5 like this, and if we multiply by ht into kts, which is the shifted version at different time instants, so if we multiply this and sum it, we get actual original signal. So gt can be given by summation from k to minus infinite to infinite g kts into h t minus kts. Okay, now if we substitute uh, ht equal to sinc function sinc to sinc 2 pi b t k t minus n, and we ultimately get gt equal to summation of k equal to minus infinite to infinite g k t s into sinc 2 pi b t minus k pi. So what is the meaning by this? So g k t s is the sampled, suppose k equal to 1, so this will be j into ts multiplied by sinc 2 pi b t minus k pi. Okay, so ultimately what is the gt? Reconstruct signal will nothing but summation of summation of amplitude at particular time instance multiplied by sinc function. So that is nothing but reconstructed gt signal, reconstructed message signal. Obviously it is not exactly equal to the gt, but it is close to the original signal, and this formula is known as the interpolation formula, and the reconstructed waveform can be shown like this. So you can see that this one is the sample signal gt bar, this one, and if we multiply it by sinc function, okay, so this is the uh, amplitude at t equal to 0, and this one is the sinc function at this point, and this one is the amplitude at t equal to 1, and this one is the shifted version of the sinc function, and this is multiplied by this. So ultimately we get like this one is the original reconstructed version. So obviously you can find that sir, you can, the question arise that this one is not continuous. So if sampling frequency is much higher, so obviously these two sample will be close to each other, and ultimately we get the original continuous signal. And here it is interesting to find that there is no overlapping at sampling instant. That means at particular sampling instant like t equal to 0, there is only one sync function which has value is maximum, like is 1. Okay, but at another time instant we can find that, suppose this one, at this point the value of this sync function is 0, but second sync function there is some kind of amplitude, but other sync function obviously there is 0, so there is obviously there is no overlapping. So this is why the time domain representation of the reconstructed signal. How and we can conclude that higher sampling rate leads to better reconstruction, as higher sampling rate will leads to close uh, each other. That means two consecutive sampling instant will be remain close, and ultimately we get the reconstructed signal similar to the original one. Okay, so obviously this one is the ideal reconstruction case. Now coming to the practical sampling case. Now in ideal case we already told that during sampling we are using an impulse train, and which with is almost 0. Okay, but in real life the realization of this ideal impulse is not feasible or possible, and almost all the impulse have a finite width. Okay, and second thing, realization of ideal low pass filter. Okay, realization of ideal low pass filter is also not possible. That means with sharp decreasing transfer function is not possible to design, and this is the this is also known as Peli Wiener criteria. So the sharp uh, realization of sharp transfer function of a low pass filter is also not possible. And until unless we are not realizing the uh, sharp or rectangular type of transfer function, we are not getting proper type of reconstruction. So in practical life, we are using non-ideal pulse for sampling, which has a finite width and which can be realized practically at ease. And in that case, the impulse is look like this PT. Okay, so this one is known as so this one is the practical sampling case. Okay, and GT bar will look like this. On the other hand, coming to the next is the natural sampling. So most in case of natural sampling, instead of we using a finite with impulse, we are using a train of rectangular pulse, which is nothing but clock signal. Okay, so it is more convenient to use a train of rectangular pulse, which is easy to generate in time domain. Okay, so in this case, the natural sampling here in this case, in case of natural sampling, message signal is multiplied by a periodic train of rectangular pulse, and after this multiplication, we can see that if GT is multiplied by QT, which is nothing but a clock signal, we can see that the amplitude of this clock is varied in according with the amplitude of the original GT signal. Okay, and this is also known as the PAM, that can be explained later. Okay, so this one is the natural sampling. So we learn three type of sampling. First one is the ideal sampling, where we are using ideal impulse with zero with impulse, and but that is not practically possible. In case of practical sampling, we are using non-ideal pulse, that is denoted by PT, which has very small amount of width. But instead of using in case of natural sampling, we are using simple clock signal or train of rectangular pulse to for sampling purpose, and we are getting sampled signal. Okay, now coming to the sample and hold circuit, which is very which is widely used for practical reconstruction of a signal. We already seen, we already seen that in case of ideal reconstruction, we have to use a ideal low pass filter which has sharp decreasing rectangular type transfer function. This is This is the mandatory condition for a ideal low pass filter. And the corresponding function in time domain is sync function, which has by bandwidth of infinite bandwidth. Okay. So so instead of using that kind of uh, filter, which is very difficult to design, we are using a simple sample and hold circuit that consists of a capacitor and a switch, and the switch is also synchronized with the pulse train. So here you can see the this one is the sampler, this one is the hold cap, you can call it hold capacitor, this one is the switch, and this one is the output buffer, and we get the original sample and hold output. So what is the working principle? This one is the analog input and this one is the pulse train. So obviously after this, this is the multiplier, that means we get the original sample signal here, and here we are using capacitor. The charging time is very small, and initially when the we get the when the sampled signal is high, then capacitor is originally charged up to its maximum amplitude. Suppose this one at this point impulse is on or rectangular pulse is applied. So what we get the capacitor is charged, and at the next up to next time next sampling instant, it's hold the charge, charge. Okay. And when the next sampling instant occurred, the switch is closed and the original discharge is discharged to this, and again by the from the analog input, the capacitor is again charged up to its maximum amplitude. Okay. And this process is continuous continuing for next impulse train. Okay. So here the amplitude of the sample signal is hold constant for finite duration of time during conversion, and resulted signal follows the staircase approximation. You can see that ultimately the resultant reconstructed signal is similar to the staircase approximation of original signal. And again, if you are using higher frequency rate, obviously this two successive staircase will be close to each other, and you get the ultimate original signal as close as possible. uh, so Mm, you can see that the operating principle is very simple. One is just we need a hold capacitor and a switch. Hold capacitor store the maximum voltage level and make it constant up to next sampling instant, and after next sampling instant it discharge and again charge up to current maximum amplitude of the signal. Okay. And we get the this type of staircase approximation. So this is the practical reconstructions circuit. Okay, we can call it sample and hold circuit. We also call it as zero order hold circuit. And obviously, to reduce the this staircase type approximation, we can use first order hold circuit using op amp, so that we can minimize this type of ripple or staircase approximation. Okay. Now, coming to the another problem that has been arised during the sampling, which is known as the aliasing or spectral folding. Remember, during the mathematical analysis of Nyquist criteria or Nyquist theorem or sampling theorem, we assume that GT is band limited, strictly band limited, and we initially mentioned that after after the frequency B hertz, the spectrum becomes zero. Okay. Okay. So that means we are assuming the message signal is strictly band limited. Okay. But in real life, all the signals are time limited. That means all the signals that has been generated for particular finite duration of time. So that's why we call it time limited. And it can be also proved that a time limited signal cannot be band limited and vice versa. That means a band limited signal cannot be time limited, and a time limited signal cannot be band limited. So From this point of view, our assumption is contradictory. Okay, so for all practical case signals which are time limited, that means for a part that has been generated for a finite duration of time, are obviously not band limited. Okay, so therefore original spectrum, if you observe the spectrum of of a time limited signal or of a practical signal in spectrum analyzer, you can find that its spectrum is extended up to infinite, although after certain frequency range its power become very small. Okay, phd become power spectral density become very small. Okay, so so obviously uh, suppose GF, originally GF will band limited, if we call it band limited, suppose this one is the B point, so it should be ended here, but during as it is not band limited due to its practically time limited signal, so it is extended like this. Okay, so for this reason what will happen, as we already know that the spectrum of sample signal, that is GF bar, consists of replica of original GF. So in that case we'll see that due to this extended spectrum there will be overlapping between two successive spectrum of GF. Okay, so you can see that this one is the one spectrum and this one is the shifted version of the spectrum at Fs. Okay, so at Fs by 2 there will be overlapping. Okay, so you can see that this one and this region are overlapping with each other, and due to this overlapping with each other, as we get two signal here or two spectrum, so ultimately resultant spectrum will look like this. That means summation of this one and this one, and we get ultimately this type of spectrum. So uh, this phenomenon is known as the aliasing. Okay, now so overlapping between two successive spectrum of the signal due to the due to the infinite bandwidth of a time limited signal, that is nothing but aliasing. Now now if you using a low pass filter, okay, or reconstruction filter with transfer function HF, so what we get? We get this type, only this region. Okay, you can see that if the uh, bandwidth of that low pass filter is Fs by 2, that means if this dotted section is the transfer function of it, obvious as it is low pass filter, that means it will pass the low frequency up to Fs by 2, and it will in so the this tail, that means higher frequency component of the of the GF will be lost. Okay, and similarly this one is the higher frequency and this one is the lower frequency, and this one, due to this lower frequency, due to this lower frequency there is some kind of distortion. This one is the original one, but we get the this darker one is the actual is the reconstructed signal, so we get the distorted signal. So this one is the reconstructed spectrum, but in this region there is some kind of distortion. Okay, so we can conclude that higher frequency component of the signal is lost. We can call it lost tail. Okay, lost tail result in loss of higher frequency. Moreover, the lower frequency component, which was due to the next successive spectrum, lower frequency of the next successive spectrum, that is folded back into this region and creating some kind of distortion. And in this region there is similar type of distortion has been founded. Okay, so loss, so if after Fs by 2, that means Fs by 2 up to Fz, the this higher frequency is lost, and Fs by 2 minus Fz, this frequency is folded back into the spectrum. So we get ultimate this type of reconstructed spectrum, but obviously this one is not actual or wanted or desired spectrum, because there is distortion in this region. Okay, so this reappearance, this reappearance is known as the tail inversion. Okay, that means the lower frequency is folding back into the higher frequency. So this one is the known as the aliasing or, or spectral folding, and fs by 2 is known as the aliasing frequency. Okay, it is interesting to note that, or it is ought to mention that the aliasing is not same as the case where overlapping between spectrum occurs due to the fs less than 2b. When sampling rate is less than the Nyquist criteria, then obviously then there is also overlapping between two successive spectrum of GF. But how can you overcome it? If we improve the sampling frequency, then obviously we can overcome that type of overlapping. But here overlapping occurred due to the infinite bandwidth of practical time limited signal. Okay, so for that reason, higher frequency component of a spectrum has been lost, and lower frequency component has been folded back into the spectrum, and which create some kind of distortion, and we get ultimately distorted spectrum. So this is the spectral folding or aliasing. Okay, now question arise, how can we overcome this distortion that is created due to the spectral folding or aliasing effect? Okay, so most convenient way to overcome this problem to use a low pass filter, that is also known as anti-aliasing filter, which has bandwidth of fs by 2 before the sampling. So we need to use a low pass filter. Remember, we need to use a low pass filter before sampling, which has bandwidth of fs by 2. What will happen then? So if we pass through a low pass filter which has bandwidth of fs by 2, obviously the in the original spectrum of the signal, the higher frequency component, that is fs by 2 plus fs by 2 plus fz, this portion will be removed. Okay, this portion will be removed, that means higher frequency component, but or which is extended beyond the limit, that will be removed. Okay, now this signal, if we use this signal in sampling, okay, so what will happen? So this signal will be repeated, this signal will be repeated, and as the higher frequency component is already removed from the spectrum, so there will be no overlapping, so there will be no overlapping. Okay, so here uh, to eliminate the aliasing, here it is written that to eliminate the aliasing effect, we should eliminate the higher frequency spectrum beyond fs by 2 at initial stage or before sampling, so that they are not able to reappear or folded back into the lower frequency spectrum. So ultimately what we get? We get after anti-aliasing filter this type of spectrum, and after sampling we get this type of spectrum. Okay, so here you can see that uh, the distortion has been removed as the lower frequency portion, high frequency has been removed. There is no overlapping and there is no distortion in the signal. So question arise, although we are not getting full spectrum of the signal. So after the reconstruction of the sample, that means after the sampling, we using a low pass filter here, and after using this low pass filter of transfer function HF, so we get this type of filter, and we get ultimately this one. So here this one is the original spectrum that should be recovered, but we recovered only this without any overlapping between two successive spectrum. So as this one so obviously this portion has been removed due to the anti-aliasing filter, but as this portion is removed there is no distortion. So we can conclude that Although we lost higher frequency component, but still distortion at receiver end is eliminated before sampling. So which is quite efficient process. Okay. So that's all from the sampling. So sampling and its application. So during this process, what we have learned the basic sampling theorem, Nyquist criteria or Nyquist rate, practical sampling and natural sampling, and some ideal reconstruction. That means how can we reconstruct the original signal from the sampled one, and the sample hold circuit, practical case of reconstruction, which is more convenient or is efficient way to reconstruct a signal from a sampled version. And then there is some kind of problem which arise due to the infinite bandwidth of practical time limited signal, and which is overcome by anti-aliasing filter. So that's these things we have learned so far. Now coming to the another portion which is known as the pulse modulation. We already in earlier semester we have discussed about this pulse modulation. So pulse modulation is nothing but one special type of analog modulation where the carrier is nothing but rectangular pulse, that means clock. Okay. So train of rectangular pulse has been used. So there are why do we call it pulse modulation? So because here instead of using a carrier signal as analog signal, a continuous analog signal, you are using a chain or a train of pulses, rectangular pulses. That's why I call it pulse modulation. So basically there are three type of pulse modulation. One is PAM, next one is the PWM, and the third one is the PPM. So pulse amplitude modulation, here the amplitude of the regularly spaced pulse are varied in proportion with the corresponding sample value of the continuous message. So what is PAM? You can see that B, section B. So second figure is showing the PAM signal, which is similar to the natural sampling. So the amplitude of the rectangular pulse is vary in accordance with the amplitude of the message signal at that point. Okay. Similarly, you can see that at second instant the value is higher, third instant value is lower, and like this. Okay. Now coming to the second one, pulse width modulation. Here the width of the carrier is varied in according with the amplitude. So you can see that the width of the carrier actually we are using a rectangular pulse. So here where we getting the maximum amplitude, in that position the width will be maximum. You can see that at this location, at this point, the amplitude is maximum. So here obviously the width of the carrier signal will be maximum, and this is the minimum point or minimum voltage point of the message signal. So here we can see that the width of the carrier signal is the lowest, but here position are not different, position are not changing. Okay. Pulse location will be the same. Okay. This one is the PWM, and the last one is the PPM or pulse position modulation. So in case of PPM, uh, pulse position has been shifted in depending on the amplitude of the signal. So where we get the maximum s- amplitude, the position of the carrier will be shifted most, and where the amplitude of the carrier is lowest, there the shifting of this position of the carrier pulse is lowest. Okay. But here it is interesting to note that the width of all the pulses in this case are constant, are not changing, but what is changing, what is their position. Okay. So actually the in this tutorial classes, the generation and detection of this PPM, PW and PAM are beyond the scope of this tutorial. Okay. It can be easily generated by using uh, by using different transistor and FET and corresponding circuitry. So as due to this limited scope, we are not explaining those things, but if we get time, So we'll definitely discuss those things. Okay. Now another important thing, another type of PAM has been observed, that is known as the flat top sampling, flat top PAM. So here you can see that what is flat top PAM. So here you can see that in case of normal PAM, the peak of the top of the rectangular pulse are changed or vary in accordance with the amplitude of the modulating signal. But in case of flat top signal, the initial point has been vary according to the message signal, but the top of the rectangular pulse is constant for the duration of the pulse. Okay, that's why we call it flat top sampling. Okay, you can see that at this point, suppose this one, so this should be like this in original PAM, but here this one is the horizontal to this axis, that means the top of the rectangular pulse is flat, but in this normal PAM this one is the not flat, and this one varied in according with the amplitude of the message signal. Okay, so that's all for the second day tutorial classes of second of digital communication, and here are the references that you can use. So I forgot to mention the some of reference book for your study. I would rather suggest Sanjay Sharma and VP Lathi for your study. And obviously, if you have any question, please post it in the Google Classroom comment box. Okay. So thank you everybody.